Forecast Factor, where we're discussing weather's impact on consumers and business. I'm joined by storm specialist Dr. Greg Postel and the business and weather expert Paul Walsh for the Weather Channel. Dr. Postel, let's start with you. Are there any signs of spring coming along here?
Well, it kind of depends. I mean, if you look at our March forecast, we have colder than average temperatures for the whole month expected across basically the eastern half of the country. Now, that's on a monthly average. But if you look at this week's weather early this week, it looks pretty nice across the country. I mean, we've got 60s and 70s in places that haven't seen it yet this winter. So there are signs that the pattern's beginning to loosen up a little bit. But of course, as we head toward the end of this week, it looks like more cold air is coming on the backside. So maybe winter weather again back in the Northeast. But let me step back for a second and say that when you look at those March outlooks, you got to be careful. What we've outlined is the area where we think is most likely to be colder than average, and that is the Northeast. But it's March cold. It's not January cold. It's not going to be 100 below zero like it's been. And we're going to see, up and down movements in it, just like we will early this week. Some, pretty nice weather, then some cold weather, then back and forth like that. So overall, it shouldn't be too bad. Certainly, I think the worst is way over.
Great, and we can just hope for that warming trend to sort of continue along with us.
Exactly.
Paul, the weather this winter has had a negative impact mostly on the economy. Is there a silver lining there?
Well, the silver lining is that typically what happens when you've got cold weather for this long, affecting that many people, when you get into the spring, you don't need it to get warm. You just need it to get normal, or a little bit more normal than what it's going to be. So what's going to happen is, when the weather starts to break, we're going to see an equal and opposite reaction to consumers. People are going to be breaking out of their homes. There's going to be a cabin fever effect that I think is going to infect the entire economy. So I think when we get into the end of March and into April, we're going to see a resurgence. And that resurgence is going to be led by the fact that it's finally spring.
So there's kind of been a spending hibernation, if you will, that people are going to come out of and
Yes, exactly right.
get those credit cards out. And
Yes. King bar the door.
great, all right.